Hey there, welcome back. It's Cindy again. We're still working in QuickBooks. We're in Desktop 2022. We're going to go ahead and finish talking about the chart of accounts. This is video number 5 in Module 3 where we're customizing the QuickBooks environment. We're back in the chart of accounts here. When we left off in part 1, we had just set up a long-term liability. We had set up a car payment. Remember, a long-term liability is something you owe and you're going to pay on it long-term. The other type of liability is a short-term or other current, as QuickBooks calls them. And you'll see an example of one right here, sales tax payable. When you collect sales tax, you are actually going to have to forward that money to the appropriate entity. Typically that's done once a month. It could be more, but it's on a short-term basis, and that's why those are set up as other current liabilities. If you do collect sales tax, you won't have to set this account up because QuickBooks will set it up for you automatically. And the balance that you see here will be the balance that is accumulated from all the invoices you've created, and you haven't forwarded those sales tax payments yet. Let's talk about equity accounts. You'll see there are a few here already set up. Here's your opening balance equity we've mentioned a few times, but a really popular one that you'll want to think about is owner equity. Think about the word equity meaning equal. If you own the company and you decide to take $100 out, that would be an owner draw or owner equity as it's called. If you decide to put that same $100 into the business, that's called an owner contribution. If you're not incorporated, the way you would pay yourself as a small business owner is by taking draws. Once you incorporate yourself, you want to think about setting up actual payroll where you're deducting taxes. But I want to go ahead and set one up for you just to show you how you would set up an equity account. And also, this will show you how to set up sub-accounts. We're going to set up one for the owner draws and one for the owner contributions. The first thing you want to do is right-click and choose New. And you'll want to set up an equity account for the main account, which we're going to call Owner. All you have to do is put in the account name. You really don't need any of this other information right now. There's probably not going to be an opening balance. Instead of me saving and closing and then having to create another one, I'm going to choose Save and New. You can see this took me to a blank screen. It already has equity filled in up here. Now what I'm going to do is create an account for Owner Draws. I'm just going to call this one Draws. But notice it will be a sub-account of, in this case, Owner. And I'm going to save a new and create one more. I'm going to create the contributions account. Remember, this is when you put money into the business as a small business owner. And this will be a sub-account again of Owner. Now I'm going to save and close, and you can see all three of these are right here. And you'll notice how contributions and draws look like they're indented underneath Owner. That's because they're sub-accounts. QuickBooks will let you have as many levels as you need. Typically, if you need more than 3, you're going to get yourself confused. So stay with 2 or 3 and you'll be fine. You'll sometimes see other terminology for these. Sometimes you will see the contributions referred to as shareholder equity. There's many different terms that you might see for that. So just set that up however you'd like to see it on reports. The next type I want to talk to you about are your income accounts. When you actually make a sale in your business, that's considered income. You can have just one income account if you like, or you can have multiple. The next one I want to talk about is a cost of goods sold type. Anytime that you have to spend money to buy a product or buy a service to make a product or service for your business, that's considered a cost of goods sold. Some examples would be if you buy a lot of materials for your job. You might have one called job materials set up. If you use subcontractors, you might have one set up for subcontractors. Let's set up a couple of these so that you can see how this works. I'm going to right-click and choose New. You're going to have to go to where it says Other Account Types and drop the list down. And from here, I'm going to choose Cost of Goods Sold. Then I'm going to hit Continue. And I'm just going to call this one Job Materials. And this would be any time that you have to buy any type of material at all to create that product or service for your business. I'm going to hit Save and Close, and you can see now it says Job Materials. If I wanted to go back and add a general ledger number, I could do that. I could just right-click and edit. And I'm going to Save and Close, and now you can see it has a general ledger number. Let's talk a little bit about setting up one for subcontractors. If you have a lot of subcontractors you deal with, go ahead and set up the main account called subcontractors, and then the sub-accounts can be the different types if you want to break it down that way. I'm going to go ahead and right-click here. I'm going to go back to the other account types and choose Cost of Goods Sold and hit Continue. I'll call this one Subcontractors. And then I'll go ahead and click Save and Close, and you can see it's on the list here now. Now let me go ahead and edit that one and give it a general ledger number, and then we'll add some sub-accounts below that. Now let's go ahead and add a couple of sub-accounts. I'm going to right-click and choose New. I'm going to choose Cost of Goods Sold. I want to call this first one HVAC, and we're going to say it's a sub-account of, and in this case, it's going to be subcontractors. Now I'm going to hit Save and Close, and you can see how it shows up underneath subcontractors. I don't have a general ledger number again, so I'm going to right-click and add one here. And then I'm going to Save and Close, and you can see that it's indented underneath subcontractors, indicating that it is a sub-account. The next type you're going to see are your expenses down here at the bottom, and you can see there are quite a few expenses here. I'm going to go ahead and stop the video, and let's go ahead and move over to part 3, and we will continue setting up your chart of accounts.